Hey, Jeff, it's countdown time, my friend.
Yes, it is countdown. 1 week from now, I'll be getting ready to head over to Hyannis, Massachusetts for the first ever in the world vCon conference, the first event ever dedicated to virtualized conversations. And it's one of those events where people will hear about in the future and say, "Gee, I wish I was there." Good
Mhm.
news is, if they still can, that future hasn't happened just yet. So there's still a moment now where they can get in, figure out how to get to Hyannis. By the way, P.S. If you get to Boston, go get to Logan for like $35. You can take the Peter Pan bus shuttle and come down to Hyannis and join us. And it's the core events Tuesday, Wednesday next week. The 24th is if you happen to be a developer or so inspired while you're with us to build some code you want to test. We're having the first ever interop for vCons on the 24th of April, a week from Thursday, and I'm super excited because it's really once in a very long time you run into a technology that's transformational. And if it wasn't for the launch of ChatGPT and the awareness of the business world going in with AI and what it means, this wouldn't be as impactful. But the reality is that vcons are the robot food for AI. And when you take conversational information, by the way, it's not just voice, not just video, it's messages, it's emails, it's anything that denotes a conversation. It could be, transcriptions from a past conversation we had. You throw it into a structured format, it's magical what we get out of it. And there's a whole industry growing, and it's not a New England thing, it's not a West Coast thing, it's a global thing. And as transformational has been the introduction of AI in business and how positively disruptive it's been, this layered in just changes the way we do business.
Well, and I think part of it too is just this next level of using the solutions that you're currently touching, guys. You are using ChatGPT. You guys are using OpenAPI, AI. You guys are using things already in your toolbox that already are what I consider entry level, but this is that next step of where you can humanize communications and understanding how to use AI to really create what I consider the best of both worlds. And Jeff, this is the problem I always think that we disconnect in technology. A lot of people drive technology, but they don't have the humanization of technology. And this is where those two worlds are coming together in Boston.
Yeah. Plus, it's like if you could remember, if it was possible to remember every conversation you ever had. And the thing is, people that are busy or semi-busy, you have a conversation in the morning, and by late afternoon, it's like, what did I talk to Charlene about? And like, we don't have total recall. We're not robots like that. And imagine, it's sort of like thinking about what you had for dinner, 3 weeks ago tomorrow. Like, I ate dinner, maybe. Like you don't take note of it because you take it for granted that you had food or you did this or did that. And particularly when you speak to someone often, you don't always remember a specific conversation, just that a conversation may have taken place. And having the ability to bring things together. And I mean, one of my dreams is to be able to take knowledge. There's some great books that have been written in the past about sales. I mean, one of my favorite books I learned about a long time ago it's called How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. When I took a Dale Carnegie course many years ago, this was a book that was being promoted. It was first published, I'm happy to say, in 1947. But if you were to GPT, I don't know, somehow magically create a personal GPT of these words and take on 99 other sales books, imagine if you're in a sales position, and your coach could listen to the conversation and interject into your ear, shut up. Charlene already wants to set up, and she wants to register for the conference. So stop selling. Or Joe, he wants a sponsor, so don't talk him out of it. Just take the sale. Sometimes we have to be, and so imagine we having these conversations in real time or almost real time, and we can be coached about how to be a better agent, how to be a better salesperson, how to be more articulate, or maybe you're working, I don't know, in data analysis, and you're looking for trends and you're looking for information. And imagine if you're doing supply chain and you're looking at the data, and you've had these conversations across over the last 3 weeks about moving something from point A to point B, and the reason why it was delayed was already written in the words, but no one picked up on it because they didn't know what to look for, what keywords to look for. Well, when we bring all these things together, we can make sense out of that. And And so the introduction of virtualized conversations, it's not just about the voice recording. I mean, a lot of people, frankly, for me too, it's like the lowest hanging fruit happens to be call centers. But here's the secret: vCons are not just for telecom; it's for everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, look, I don't know if people have siblings. I can tell you, growing up, I used to think that I was always the last person to find out something that was happening in my family. Now that's how it felt. But if we were recording everything that was all those inter-family conversations,
It wouldn't be that way.
Mom, you see, you never told me about vacation. I never knew we were going to go to Cape Cod because you didn't tell me. You told my sisters. You didn't tell me.
Right.
Or you're working with a colleague, and it's like you just assume that they're going to meet you at the airport, but maybe you never told them to meet you there. But it's like you assume so, and it's like, go to the vCon. Now we know. And
Exactly.
I thought it'd be fun if you could take, I don't know, for people that relate to sci-fi, take some Star Trek episodes, and for all those captain's logs, turn those into vCons, and then look at the episodes. And here's the thing, in Star Trek, you have Dr. McCoy, who's he's a doctor, he's not an engineer,
right?
And that's sort of his tagline. And Scotty, he's going to try to fix things as long as you give him some dilithium crystals. And Captain Kirk, he can figure things out at any situation. Well, the vCon contains metadata, and so you don't have to be an engineer if you're a doctor, but it may give you insights when you're talking to your computers. And if we had vCons back in the days of Star Trek, in the near future, maybe they're actually implied. Maybe that's how some of those insights got captured, is because we virtualized those conversations. And here's the thing. We're going to, and I gave myself a keynote at the conference, and it's called the vCon Road Ahead. But imagine if we're going from virtualized conversations to virtualized communications. That we're going from small picture to big picture. What happens? And then hopefully, my hope is people will realize that the role of the telecom industry just got disrupted. Because up until now, most people who are selling unified communications, or whatever CPaaS stands for, and the other stuff, just kidding, is really about delivering a conversation to a company, to a person. But in our world here, the vCon kicks in when you hang up the phone, when the conversation seemingly ended, and that's when the vCons come in. And what if, like, instead of waiting for the 30-minute conversation to be over to start getting insights, what if there was a way to chop them up so every 30 seconds or every 15 seconds you started getting insights, so that you didn't wait the whole. So there's a lot of way that we can take technologies and adopt it for how we want to use it. And the best thing about all of this is that these are built on standards. The IETF, the Internet Engineering Task Force, the folks that bring you the web, bring you the technologies where the internet just works. They're the ones who are bringing you two really core things: vCons, virtualized conversations, and something called SCIT. SCIT is supply chain integrity, transparency, and trust. Because it's one thing to have memory, but don't you want to be able to trust that memory? Because trust is one of those things that we've lost in the telecom industry. We've lost trust really all over the place, but I'm not going to go political. But let's just say that being able to know that Charlene said this on a certain day at a certain time. Now that validity doesn't mean that your information was correct. Like, it could be that you put in assumptions to put in a sales forecast. I put in my own sales forecast. My underlying data might have been wrong. I might have guessed incorrectly, but it is me doing it. And so having verifiable trust and having a layer of that. And the cool part is for anyone who's listening who builds, I don't know, agentic AI bots or chat bots, let's face it, you guys have an issue. You have amnesia.
Where did you come from, everybody? Don't you forget where you came from?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that you could have multiple sessions, but you're not really going to remember. And it gets really annoying to a consumer that, I was just on the Delta app last week, and I had to validate myself. I'm having a chat with a chatbot, and all of a sudden it forgot me. So I had to go back in and revalidate myself and tell it again why I was waiting for it. And I was like, this is annoying. And it's like, damn, why doesn't Delta have memory in their chatbots? Oh, because they don't know about vCons. Oh, okay. And it's like, and the other thing that's really cool about this is that being able to be compliance, because in the future, there will be a time when everyone, I believe, most people's digital rights will be observed and honored. And being able to manage consent, which is still a a very hot issue and how to do that. But the GDPR, the European Union has put out rules and regulations on how to manage consumer consent. The state of California and other states in the U.S. have, and we're getting to a consensus that, let's face it, if you've ever had a bad day calling into a call center, perhaps you wish to have that conversation deleted. Wouldn't it be nice if you could say, okay, delete that. Oh, by the way, Delta, I want you to tell me every conversation we've ever had, and I want you to then delete every conversation. And if you trained any of your LLMs on my voice, I want you to confirm that you've been untrained.
Right, to be controlling your data, guys, controlling the access to it, controlling what can be considered. And Jeff, I've seen this time and time again, where you could take a YouTube video of someone speaking and they actually put it into an AI, and that AI can actually call you and they can actually ransom you. Well, I mean, this is how you want your data back.
Last week, I learned about a new hack where it's what's happening is some of the really good bad actors are calling into people's voicemail, and anyone who has a recording on their voicemail, they're stealing their voice from their voicemail, from their outbound, right, from what they answer, and then they morph it into something. And so it's like, be vigilant, because those bad actors are getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and they're looking to get to us. So being able to validate the endpoints, whether it's a valid phone number, valid person, valid entity, really important stuff. And the nice thing about transparency services is that while we can't prove a negative, we can prove a positive. So if you've noticed the trend to go from HTTP to HTTPS, what Google does is Google runs a transparency server. That's why when we use HTTPS, we know that they're a valid web page. And similarly, SCIT, that the Supply Chain Integrity, Transparency, and Trust Protocol, it validates that this information is real and that who entered the information into an immutable ledger and how to manage it. And so this is all, some of it is complicated, but at the high level, if you're in business, trust me, if you're not going to use vCons, your competition will. First to market will mean that you have the first to have the competitive advantage. And what this conference I put together offers is a chance for an even playing field for people that are the engineers to share their engineering, people who want to learn, come to learn, and people who are building services and people that are rolling out services are going to have the opportunity to
enhance it, make it better.
Exactly. And I think that's transformational. And I can tell you that back in 1996, I hosted the first ever conference in North America about the future of voice and video on the net. And over the years, many more people said they were at that event than the event capacity was. And then our first VON was in April of 97, and it seemed very timely, actually, because the first event was the beginning of April 97 in San Francisco. And that was a time already 2 years into the whole internet telephony revolution. Here, we're in the AI revolution, certainly, and vCons are still nascent. And so this is a time where people are going to be building the strategies, adding some what if, and looking to add these technologies to their product roadmaps. The cool part is that there are going to be a bunch of companies in attendance. Some will be public about what they're offering, some a little more reserved. But I know that 2025 is the year of the vCon. I like to believe 26 will be too, because we're going to start seeing large companies hinting, maybe not even calling out or even sharing their secret sources, virtualized conversation format. Maybe they're not going to be so public about how they're doing it, but if you listen to what they're doing, it's fairly obvious that vCons are in the know and strategic for them. So it's April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, next week in Hyannis. If you could figure out how to get to Hyannis, Massachusetts, join us. It is, I purposely priced the event to be business affordable. And really, it's a chance to learn. And there are not a lot of new things out there. I mean, the communications industry stagnates at times. There are network APIs. There's a whole rush for carrier services. There's a bunch in different modalities of communication. There's some new things. But if you're looking for explosive growth to be part of a segment of the industry that will go from 0 to billions in value soon, join the vCon revolution. You're invited.
Well, and I think, again, guys, remember that when you come, the goal is to be able to see how you can apply it to the industry that you're currently working in. For many of you who are in management, this might be a way of helping manage maybe conversations in your HR department, maybe in your sales, maybe just in your customer service. I mean, there's such a gamma of what people are considering and looking at when they're coming to this, that I want to make sure that Jeff and I are communicating. This is for anyone who's doing their current work. You can improve the human connection because you would be able to understand what that looks like because of how the AI tells you and breaks down your conversations. So you can apply it immediately. This doesn't have to be some futuristic idea that you're saying, well, it's not relevant to me right now because I'm not doing anything. If you're talking to people, if you're having conversations, this has everything to do with what you're doing.
And the other part of it is rolling it together. This is not one winner takes all. Like this is a community effort, and we're very open. And the nice thing about the IETF, it's open standards. The intellectual property, the vCon, SIP, HTTP, RTP, everything that was created through the platform of the IETF, is done by individuals contributing their time, effort, and energy. And I've taken a similar collaborative approach to building the conference, and that everyone who's speaking is speaking. And my experience with the speakers has been that everyone's open to sharing. And imagine going to school where not only did you have professors doing their best to teach you, but the students were helping you. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the great bake-offs, the baking shows, but I recently watched some young bakers. There's like the great British baking show, and I noticed that there's a version of it for kids. And what I loved about the kids baking show is that the kids help each other, even though they're competing with each other. Yes. If they get stuck, they help each other out, and that's amazing to see that type of collaboration. And I'd like to believe that as we build these markets, we're going to help each other, and that's the cool part about Thursday's event. Is that you're going to find people that are making money today and looking to sell services in the vCon space. At the same time, their ability to sell is increased by having other products that are interoperates with them, so that they're going to be there to help each other out. And while there's a commercial element to it, there's also a cooperative element to it, and we work together. It's really nice to see where people are working with each other, helping to debug code. And also learning and just answering questions. And like my belief is that there's no bad questions to ask, just the questions which you don't ask, because it's like, probably if you are thinking of something, everyone else probably, or many others, are also asking, but they're too shy. And so the thing about these conferences, they're a safe space to be you, to share your ideas, to listen, and to be seen. And this is where the future, this is an element, so maybe I'm telecom biased in that sense because I'm looking at the future communications, but really the stuff that we're talking about is core to the future of business. And there's a whole other side of it to our personal lives, because I have to tell you, as a kid growing up, I'd love to go to my parents and say, Mom, go to the vCon, because last Thursday, I'm pretty sure you didn't tell me. You told everyone else. Like, why not? And I could prove it. But now it's like I just have to go on bad memory. So if we had total recall, we could prove so many other things. But, we just have to go with what we remember right now.
Well, and let it be known today that the future of vCon, for that mom and daughter or mom and son who's like, but you said yes, I could go. This has been made the mark today, Jeff. That all of these students who are watching us and will watch us in the future will say, on this stage, Jeff said that we could. And that will be the keynote on stage, Jeff, as you take the mantle and be the reason why the innovation came to market. Again, like you did with Vonage, and again, like you were able to do so much of that innovation forward thinking above what I consider. A lot of people, innovation is immediately today, but innovation is that futuristic approach to it where we can all grow to it. So, Jeff, again, everybody, we're going to be in Boston. It's spring.
That's Hyannis. We may be heading to Boston, but going south to Hyannis to Cape Cod. If you're still in Boston on the morning of the 22nd, please come south to Hyannis. Please.
Well, and guys, he promised that it's spring.
It is. I checked the weather. It looks like it's going to be in the low 60s and with some sunshine. So it's a beautiful time of year to visit Cape Cod.
Well, I can't wait. I've never been, so this will be my first time to be there with you, Jeff, and everybody else. I can't wait to see everyone.
Looking forward to hosting you and to catching up with a growing community. And thanks for hosting. And next week's going to be really special. I can feel it already.
Yes, thanks so much. And everybody, we will put the link into the LinkedIn Live so that you can go ahead and register directly. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Jeff or myself, and we will be able to answer those questions. And remember, guys, this is the first ever vCon event. So this is the inaugural launch of what we already know is coming and has been here for the last couple of years, but we're taking it center stage in Boston with all of our partners and, of course, you. So come on down.
Looking forward to